The following is an original audio series from Sierra International Machinery, Pile of Scrap, with your host, John Sacco.
Well, I'm back here again, Tuesday, I don't know what day it is because I've been here since Friday. So,
Day 3, day 4.
Officially day 2 of the exhibit hall. How's that? ISRI 2024, and I'm joined with the Brothers Lincoln.
How you doing?
Hi.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I was going to say it's day 4 with my liver. Day 2, I've been here. Yeah.
Well, I got it. So today I got to do the Brothers Cozy, Albert and Frank. Really, it was really special. I mean, those guys. Do you guys remember when you might have been too young, when Albert Cozy predicted iron would be $200 a ton, and he just got lambasted in American metal market? You were
I was probably in college, but they probably have some
all right,
stories.
so you guys are still a little young, but anyway, I like having the brothers on. You know, my brother Philip and I, we're the next generation. You guys are the third generation, right?
That's right. Hopefully a fourth.
Who's coming in on the fourth?
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, you got 2 boys.
I have
4
4 boys. Yeah.
And I got 3 kids myself. So
I thought we were having a nice conversation. I'm away from home right now, but you're bringing them into it. I got to work harder now.
Yeah, well, you know, that'll be the trick. You know, they say the third generation's the trickiest one.
Yeah. That was always a fear that I thought about because I didn't want that hung on my name. We're to the point now, if there's a 4th generation, that will be our decision or the 4th generation's decision.
All right, so how do you separate duties to where you're not stepping all over each other?
Well, luckily we have like 2 physical yards, so we're not in the same office. But Jeremy came into the business, first out of college, and I mean we both kind of grew up in it, working it at times and summer jobs, running cans.
So does one run 1 yard and the other, or the demo side? Tell us
you
the
know what?
separation.
It kind of evolved like this. I remember it fondly, actually. So we both, and I think this is important, we both worked in other industries out of college. I'm a Badger. I went to University of Wisconsin. I wanted to be a trader. So I went to Chicago, and I was a pit trader in Chicago, and I did that for 6 or 7 years. And my dad thought that was great training, for trading scrap metals. No. But the point is, 1 year he was visiting Chicago. I think it was the ISRI Chicago Roundtables. He would always invite me, and we'd do our thing. And we had dinner at the Palmer House Hilton. That's right.
Yeah.
In the Tiki Bar in the basement. And I remember that. It was 2002. And I said, you know what, Dad? I like what I'm doing here, but I think I want more. I want to try something different. If you're still up to it, because he had been laying it on pretty thick, like come back to Erie, come work in the business. And I wanted to be a trader, and I was doing that to moderate success. But in Chicago, I just saw myself spinning the wheels the next 10 years, maybe not enjoying it, not getting the different instances, the learning, the growth opportunities. So I threw the line out, and he's like, yes, let's do this. And
you didn't throw no fishing line out.
Well,
he had been chumming for you for a long time. You just finally took the bait.
There had been offers. There was a lot of consolidation in the industry, and he had some offers, and they politely passed on him. But at the time, I think I had to do the math, he was like 65 or 67. But as you know, he ran young, had a lot of energy, a lot of ideas. And 6 months later, I moved to Chicago. I moved to Erie.
Where did you do after college?
After college, I went to Boston. I worked for, Fortune 500 insurance company. Got a lot of experience. But I think same thing Jeremy said. Like after 5 years of doing that, I was kind of getting tired having 5 different bosses or vice presidents that you're working for, and you're just stuck doing the grind. And I had finished grad school, and same thing. We have an older sister, Samantha. She was having her first child, and we were out in San Francisco, and Samantha had just had the baby, and so my dad and I were having a coffee together, and he plucked me up like, what are you doing? What do you want to do with your life? And
dads are good at that, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if he had a plan of where to put us, but we had another gentleman, Norm, that worked for us for many, many years. Norm Eaton, that's right.
Norm was a good man.
30 years.
Yeah, great man.
man.
And so kind of each of us learned under Norm. Our dad, Howard, kind of stuck us down there in Meadville. And, I think I was the first graduate from my grad school to be running a torch 3 months later and getting my CDL license and learning all sides of the business, because I wanted to know what it was like for my guys to operate and what it
so
takes
your
to move.
grandfather was in the rag. Maybe my dad was in the rag bag business when he started, basically after World War II. But your dad, when you came out to film Table Scraps with me, and we were talking, your dad really moved the needle as far as moving Lincoln Recycling into a full-blown metal recycling facility. Is that right? Did I get that right?
The stories I got were basically Lincoln Recycling, as it is now, as Lincoln Metal Processing, wasn't incorporated yet. My dad was actually a physical education teacher out of Penn State, and he worked at a couple private schools in New Jersey. He was a football coach, swim coach. Actually had a lot of success, coached a couple All-Americans.
Yeah, a couple All-Americans.
Yeah.
In swimming.
And some of them even showed up at his funeral a couple of years ago. They came in from all over the country. It was really warming. But so he decided to come back to Erie, jumped in with my grandfather, and very quickly realized they were running around in pickup trucks, grabbing barrels, sorting metal by hand in a small warehouse, and then selling it to other broker-dealers, or I should say broker-dealers, wholesale scrap yards. And this was hard, and he quickly realized we need to become that broker-dealer. We need to become the scrap yard, not the truck and account and
not
warehouse
the peddler,
guy.
really.
Not the peddler. Well, peddler on a higher end. They were
And I get it. Look,
Yeah.
that's not being demeaning. So, look, I knew your dad, and that dude he was meant. I mean, he was always. He said a lot of energy. He told me how he used to set things up for the kids. He had the portable baling surface. How he'd buy the baler and put it in your kid's name, do the jobs, and building your
They'll pay for our
basis.
education too. That was one of the plans. Yeah.
So okay, let's talk about Erie, PA, and Meadville, because see, I'm from Bakersfield, right? So I go to school at USC in LA, and I come home to Bakersfield. A lot of people say, "Why are you still in Bakersfield?" So let's talk. How is Erie from when you lived in Boston and you lived in Chicago? Okay, boys, you're out there, and you're thinking of home. It's going home like, this place has nothing for me. Take the business out of it, or is it like, no, this is where I need to raise a family? What was it for you guys?
You're no longer a little fish in a big pond. You can have a say in your community. You can get where you need to go. All the wasted time in big cities kind of goes away. To your original question, I live a mile from work, and I love it. Andrew was second in the business, and Norm was about to retire, and we're like, hey, we need somebody in Meadville, Andrew. We'll get you a nice car. And so, he has the commute and puts a lot of miles on the car. So, but Erie, unequivocally, people that get pulled into the Erie orbit, if you're coming from bigger cities, at first you might not appreciate it, but after a few years, just ask my ex-wife, it's a great place to raise a family. Your kid wants to do ballet, sports, anything, sciences, it's all there. There's a couple universities, and it's all accessible, where it's not as easy to accessible in a big city.
Right.
And Erie has it all in a small package.
And for you, Andrew?
A lot of the same that Jeremy was saying. I mean, it's scary to move back home. I think it's really important, to get your wings elsewhere. He went to Chicago. My sister was in San Francisco. And I was in Boston. Scott and Samantha, they came back to Erie and were part of our business for 5-8 years.
Right.
And there was the three of us working together. Now it's just Jeremy and I. But my wife, we always joke, we would always bring our girlfriends. You want to meet someone outside of Erie, and the only time you bring them to Erie is June, July, and August. So you don't bring them to Erie in the wintertime when we have 100 inches of snow. But my wife is originally from Rochester, so having that family connection close with her family is great. And like Jeremy said, it's easy to get to all these activities that our kids can do, and it's
What's the population of Erie?
Downtown's 100,000, and then Greater Erie's probably 250,000.
Okay, well that's Bakersfield's about 350 city, greater area maybe 410, 425. So that's interesting. So now I learned this when again filming your grandpa. Who came to America? Was it your grandfather or your great grandfather?
Great-grandfather.
Yeah, great
From
grandfather.
Poland.
That was on my mom's side. So on my mom's side, it was our grandfather.
Okay.
Came from Poland. On my dad's side, it was great grandfather.
From
Russia.
You know,
The joke is the family that we have family in Cleveland. We're pretty spread out, but so this is on the Lincoln side, and it wasn't Lincoln. It was like pick the Jewish name at Ellis Island. I think it was Lipschitz or something like that. It got changed. I guess it's not a joke, but the story is the train going the Empire whatever going to Cleveland where the family was got off on the wrong stop. Erie was the couple
Erie,
stops
PA,
before, and
here
that's
I
where
come.
it landed. Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm a son of an immigrant, so I know the story, and it's an interesting one. The opportunity that America's the land of opportunity. Here they are, and then we all went home, right? We all went to the big city. I was L.A., right? I went home, but I only had 2 weeks after I graduated from USC before I had to come home. So Dad had me home 2 weeks after SC.
I need you now. Yeah, right.
Well, it was already a foregone conclusion, but you know what? That's okay. I don't begrudge that, but it is. I know the story from a lot, and so Erie is a town. I've been to once, so I really I'm more curious now because it's an old. What was Erie originally? For a port town? What was it?
It was actually bigger than Cleveland for the first 100 years. And then Cleveland took
fishing
off.
was a mega industry. I mean, of the Great Lakes, Lake Erie had some of the largest fishing fleets.
Blue pike, they canned
Erie.
fish and sent it all over the world. It was, yeah.
So now today, what is Erie?
Erie, you have the universities, you have the hospital, you have manufacturing. It's still going strong. It's not. We don't have the foundries that we used to have, but we still have GE, which is now Wabtec, making locomotives.
Okay.
Plastics is big in that area.
It has a big tool and die past, and that's, I think, why plastics landed there. I don't know the exact stories, but actually in Meadville, just south of Erie, there was a Swedish immigrant who invented the tooling to make a zipper.
Okay.
And you had to have trained, machinists, tool and die guys, and so when that industry started to die off in the 60s and 70s is right when plastics came. Well, great, you have all these trained guys that would show up with their wood case and all their micrometers and tools, and so there's still a lot of injection molding and micro tools and big tool.
So you see some of these cities, these old Rust Belt cities, kind of make this turn and start gentrifying and also growing through new industry. Is that what's happening in Erie, would you say, or pretty much no? I mean, I'm curious.
I see it. I don't know if it makes the list, but I definitely see it's just a slower turn in Erie. Things seem to happen a little bit slower than you'd like, but there is some new industry coming in, and then also through the schools and the hospitals, there are some tech industries coming into play. They're trying to incubate that, because at the end of the day, you're looking at the 50-year arch of where we are. It doesn't matter how you feel about climate change, but that Minnesota to Buffalo has been identified, and I think bigger companies are starting to realize that we're going to have stable climate in that region, the original Rust Belt.
Okay.
And things are slowly kind of heading towards the better there.
Well, all right. So, but now let's talk about your business, the tentacles of your business, because your dad had the portable baling business. So you guys you reach out long distances. And for what I understand, you guys are still out there in a long, with your demo and stuff. How far are you guys reaching?
Right now, I mean, we're staying east of the Mississippi, but if there's a job or opportunity, further, we'll investigate it if it makes sense for us.
When I talk to people about some of the jobs we've done, and I don't really want to call them demolition jobs because that just kind of pigeonholes it. We have a crew and a partner. I would say it's where rigging meets demolition meets scrap know-how. So, I use Andrew's contacts on the steel side, my contacts on the non-ferrous side, and we're doing industrial cleanouts and other things. A lot of people instantly ask me, like, well, you just bring the steel back to Erie, depending on wherever we are. And I always like to say, no, steel needs to go downhill like water to its best home. So we have to reach out and use other yards, sometimes other mills, and ship mill direct. So the non-ferrous, depending, the more valuable stuff, if we need to clean it, we'll bring that back to Erie. So pretty much East Coast, but we've done a little bit in Canada, and we just finished a big job in Chicago.
Right.
We're down in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Going back
it took
to
a while,
Michigan.
but now we see things through a different lens, and we're seeing these things that I didn't see 15 years ago when I started.
Okay, so how has your relationships been built through your activity here with ISRI?
Well, on this side of it, I mean, being involved in the board, going out to dinners, meeting everyone, it's helped flourish our business of finding safe contacts of who we can work with. Because
that's it. You're spread. Your tentacles are out there, but aren't these relationships really kind of being built from your involvement with ISRI?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, that's who we're going to first to partner with on these jobs. So
I can't tell you how many times, because I'm usually working the office end of our on-the-road projects, where Andrew, we're in nowhere, Virginia, and he's like, oh, call this guy. I worked with him on this project at ISRI. He's at, I'll plug Smith Brothers, or pick a Baltimore
scrap,
scrap, and call him, and if it either works out, or call him. And in Chicago last year, Chicago's weird. There's more scrap than the ability to melt it in that region. So every now and then, the pipe is full. And of course, we're stuck there with all our equipment and 2,000, 3,000 tons to move, and the pipe was full. Well, through Andrew's connections in the Pittsburgh ISRI and ISRI National, next thing you know, we have a mill order in Chicago, and I had the Cozies and other people calling me back, because they had already taken my calls and say, sorry, calling me back weeks later, do you have any room, and how did you get that order? And it's all from relationships.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So you were a chapter president.
Yes.
You were chapter president.
Yes, yeah.
But you kind of stayed more active.
I have, yeah.
Why is that? Why did you not want to stay more active?
Oh, maybe my short attention span and 4 children. But
but
other people have those hiccups too. But it's not that I didn't support or whatnot. But there's also quality people coming up, and I stayed more focused on our business. Not that Andrew's not. It's just now we have the yin and the yang, and it's been important both ways. So
you were on the executive committee for Gary Chaplin, right?
Correct.
What was that experience like? Yeah, look, I'm a former chair. I picked 2 people who I, trusted to be on my executive committee. So you were picked.
Oh, it was an amazing experience. I mean, getting to work with Gary and Robin and the rest of the executive team opened up a lot of eyes. I mean, it's a volunteer job that everyone's doing, and it's a lot of hours and a lot of meetings and a lot of issues.
But it's cool though.
It is cool
because you're in the depths.
We're helping grow this trade association that we love and we're all part of. And my favorite thing of why I'm still involved is the peers I get to go have dinners with or meetings with, and they're not a competitor of mine, but they probably have similar issues that Jeremy and I have, and just to be able to discuss that freely and get their trustful advice back, and this is how I handled it. It's you can't, it's invaluable.
Well, let's just hope you stay involved. I think you bring your value on the audit, in finance. You know what you're doing. I mean,
thank you.
We were sitting there. Your brother's making the presentation yesterday. I look over to Frank Cozy and I said, those guys are organized. Very
His
good.
wife's a CPA. Maybe she helped him out a little bit. And my wife's a banker. They always, they go right by us to the numbers ladies.
We married 2
we're
better
very
ones.
lucky.
Well, that's great. All right, so let's have a little fun here. Your brother
We're
likes
not already
to cook.
having fun?
We are.
Okay.
We're getting off. Now we're going to get away from the industry in as much as he's a cook. Are you a cook?
I can cook.
Who's the better cook?
Andrew's actually surprised me. He's sneaky. Last couple of years, he's invested some time into it, and then I go over to his house, and then there's like a green egg, and then he goes back, there's a smoker, and then I'm like, what is... So I'm dreaming about these things. I just haven't done it. But my wife's vegetarian, so I've gone down... No, it's a good thing, because it pushed me down...
More meat for you.
No, it pushed me down areas I didn't think I would be in 10 years ago. So I have a full spice cabinet that can cook a lot of Indian dishes.
Right.
And just finding flavor profiles as someone growing up in Erie on cabbage rolls and overcooked broccoli, you would never, know what Ampur. I'm trying to think of some of the Indian spices I have that I have to go find. So I've kind of gone more down that route, where Andrew is the smoked meat and grill specialist.
So do you eat meat at all, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But,
it's kind of hard.
I hit 50, start to cut back just naturally. I've cut back on the red meat. Not
Sure.
that I wouldn't want to. It's like time. And I have an overgrown 17-year-old that's like can't eat enough chicken. So the different ways to marinate and grill chicken has become my life. And I kind of puffed up because that's what he walks in, and I ask him, can you please put a shirt on, please?
How old is he?
17. Remember
So
17
was that
when you had
junior
like
or
a six-pack?
senior in high school?
He'll
He's
be
a junior,
He'll be
yeah.
a senior, yeah.
Does he play ball?
Basketball.
Basketball player.
Yeah. But
Nice.
he's kind of beefy, 180 pounds and 5'11". So he doesn't have the height for a big high school, but he plays small forward, and I'm proud he even made the team. So
Well, there you go.
yeah.
So I've had his tacos. I still don't. What was the name of those things?
It was deshebrada tacos. A beef short rib.
I'm telling you,
It was good.
they were rocking. I mean, it was a legitimate dish of flavor, and it was really cool filming table scraps, and we all got to do something. But he had a lot. You had the most prep work out of anybody to do those.
Yeah. I mean, making the slaw, it was awesome going to your garden and getting
That
the
was a lot of fun.
cabbage.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went out and he picked a
wow.
beautiful head of cabbage.
It was fun.
In the garden. But, I think that's cool. So, holidays, Thanksgiving, who's hosting?
My sister.
Yeah, when she comes back into town.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Samantha's actually a very good cook as well. And it's funny because our mom, she
This
was
is being
always
recorded,
about
Andrew.
What's
Be
that?
careful.
Oh, this is being recorded.
recorded,
Mary
yeah.
Lincoln was a great cook.
Be polite, yes. I mean, it's an Eastern European palate for sure. This,
I love it. All right, so your sister will host.
yes, she's a very good cook.
So, what did she cook?
Well, the last time we got together for Thanksgiving, there were so many. I did a bird. She did a bird. She was a little upset. I think my bird was better.
All right, well, how you do your turkey?
Well, I did it on my my smoker.
Did you
So
really?
I did a smoked.
See, my turkey's badass. White wine,
Go
Crevassier. Okay. First, you take the turkey, olive oil, sweet butter, unsalted butter.
Under the skin?
No, just on the
Over
skin.
the skin? Okay.
Salt, pepper, garlic powder. In the cavity, heavy salt, heavy pepper, garlic powder, a whole head of garlic,
And no
peeled.
pre-brine. You're going
Nope.
in.
And a big old bundle of fresh thyme from the garden
Okay.
in the cavity. And then you put a cube of butter in there. And then what you do is you take white wine and Crevassier and you put that over the turkey. But I put on the bottom of the pan so it doesn't burn. I boil the neck and the gizzards so it's like a broth. And so I put that on the bottom of the pan because butter, as you know, when it hits a hot pan, burns. But it's hitting just hot liquid.
Okay.
And so every 30 minutes I baste that turkey.
Okay.
Every 30 minutes. It's actually pretty cool because, you got a house full of people. Excuse me, I got to go baste my turkey. It gives you a great excuse to get out of whatever the hell
What
is going
about
on.
the turkey? Because so many
It's
of these
moist. It's
some of these
incredible.
store-bought ones are pre-brined, and I hate them because they kind of mess up.
I don't know.
You're fine with it.
My wife gets them.
Okay.
Just do them up. Clean them the night before, but it's slow cooked because I do 325.
All right.
No higher than 325. But the funny thing is I do 2 turkeys every Thanksgiving. One of them cooks a little warmer than the other.
And the same? You do them both the same?
Both the same.
Okay.
And then Monica's dad, now he's a great cook. Monica's whole family is a great cook. Every last one of them. And he does a gravy where he takes the drippings that are fantastic because white wine and Crevassier and sweet butter makes a fantastic dressing, if you will. But he adds something with it, and I'm telling you,
Wow.
So I like hosting Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, and I enjoy hosting. Football games on all day now with the night game, right? Great wines. Wine cellar's finished.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, you got a wine cellar?
Not like that, no.
How about you?
We're still building our business to get to wine cellar level, but multiple mini fridges right now.
Yeah.
But we're on the way up.
We're getting there. We got the 750 coming to my Meadville yard.
That's right.
We got, we're well supported in our community, and we're excited. It was scary, Jeremy and I taking this over and going through COVID and so forth, but I feel like we've come out on top, and I don't know. I don't want to say the sky's the limit, but it's.
Well, I think you guys have that adventure, if you will, or the ability, like your father, to reach out beyond your local community. You're both well educated. One thing I knew about your father, he knew numbers, and you both know your numbers. You're going to be successful. When I say it, because I know the animals. I know how you were manufactured. I knew who it was. Your dad and mom were super brilliant people.
Yeah.
Incredible, and they taught you, and they did the right thing, and now it's your turn. Now, do you want your kids in the business or not?
Oh, that'll be up to them.
No, that's not what I asked you. Do you want your kids in the business?
I would love to see an opportunity for them. I honestly liked how my dad did it with us. He wanted us to go out and get experience elsewhere. We all worked there in high school at different times and different jobs, and it was fun, but at the time I was like, I didn't want to do that. I kind of wanted to prove myself outside of Erie, and I think we both have done that, the three of us. And
it's actually good memories. I have memories of we had a Ford Explorer I would hook up to a big trailer with high sides and mesh, and I would go visit, we had aluminum can accounts. I would go to the VFWs,
all the bars. Yeah.
The bars smelled like you can only imagine.
Yeah.
And we had 20 of them. And then at some point we realized, okay, this is a little silly. But we still, because a couple of the VFWs and social clubs, we couldn't say no to them, even though we told everyone else we're not doing this anymore. We still go pick them up, just
That's
because
fantastic.
We always have. But things like that, and working there, summers in high school, got to see it all the little changes. I'm more indifferent. I love the scrap business, but I really feel like if that's something my kids want to pursue, that'll be something Andrew and I will have to discuss, whether, if this stays in the family for the next 20 years or not. Because it's a changing...
But you're both young. How old are you?
I'm 50.
You're a baby.
Okay.
And you're
46.
So you guys got a long time to go before you can think of that next step.
Yeah.
If you really will, because you're at that level, you're at that age. You got your intelligence, you got your health. You're both in great shape.
I really enjoy.
You got a good run going here.
Doing anything else, at least for another 10 years. For
well,
sure.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, so I have two kids. I have my daughter Giovanna. I asked her to come in and lead our marketing department after we had a individual go work, take a job somewhere else, and she didn't want to come.
They want to come?
So my son, he's a really, really good golfer. I want him to pursue that first.
Okay.
Because
how old is he?
He's 21.
Oh, fun.
And he's that golfer at the different level of a golfer.
Right.
And I want him to pursue it because I think there's a lot of lessons from getting beat up, going into a tournament and getting your ass kicked, and then next day having to pick yourself up, go back out there for round 2, or go back to the range and get in. And he loves it. So let him do that for a while. Then we'll discuss it. Family businesses, we're here. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
But let them go do what they want to do. Chase what you want. That's my, as a father, I want my kids to chase what they want.
Yeah, it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and stuff we do. My CFO will call us. He's like, "You wouldn't believe what happened," and then he'll tell me. I'm like, "Don't start the phone call with that. That's not that bad. That's a Monday. We're gonna get through that. We're gonna figure it out. We always will. Find somebody else or whatever broke. We're gonna fix it." And that's life, and it's how you deal with that, right? Like, I used to think, I think that was an old joke my grandfather told my dad every time someone left, or you go by, it's a dad joke, you go by the cemetery, it's like everyone there thought the world couldn't go on without them.
Right.
It will. There'll be other people, and you got to figure it out.
And that's awesome, because I think that's so true to us, especially when I was your age. When somebody left, I was just distraught. Now, whatever. I mean, you learn that. Time will teach you those whatever things. But
actually,
that's a great one.
After some of our key people have left for whatever reasons, retirement, we actually found out after the fact what they were really good at and maybe what they were lacking in. You start to see those gaps that were smoothed over, coverage. You're like, okay, how do we steer the ship next time to do a little bit better?
Yeah, well, right on. All right, well, listen, we're going to bring this for a landing, but I want each of you to have a final word just about this industry and what it makes. And when you really think about it, yes, you work in it, you grew up in it, but give us your feeling about it. You go first, Jeremy.
Well, it's ever changing. You have to stay on top of the markets. You have to build relationships. More often than ever, you have to think about, we talk about focusing on a couple things at work: operations, safety, and maintenance. And it's like the foundations of what we do. A lot of people can buy and sell and move metal, but to do it at volume and over time, you have to come back to operations, safety, and maintenance. I'm very happy this will be my 21st year back in Erie. We have the best crew across the board working for us, either in the office, out in the yard. During COVID, everyone was trying to keep people, and what are we going to do or post-COVID, I would say, there was an inflation on labor, and people are jumping ship, and we added a 3rd-week vacation, which is kind of unusual for a scrapyard if you've been with us 5 years. Well, out of our 65 employees, the first year we added it, 25 qualified. And then within 2 years, we had like another 10 qualify. My point is the tenure is there, the education is there, and I want to keep supporting our people because it is a family business, and these people are family.
That was good.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
Chalk it up.
He didn't leave much meat on the bone.
Sure he did. Come on, you're a cook.
People ask me all the time in peer groups I'm in back home. They're like, "What's it like to work with your brother?" Because it's not always easy.
Awesome. I never see him.
But no, I think Jeremy and I have like a wonderful relationship. I think it's actually gotten better with us working together. We both have similar minds, and it's fun to bounce ideas off each other or struggles we both have. And he's very good at reading people and being, conversationalist. And I feel it's for us at Lincoln, it's communicating, working with our employees. We're lucky. We have a great team with us, and I think we're trying to invest more in them. So that's not always Jeremy and I being the ones that make the decisions all the time. It's like, bring us ideas. We don't want yes people. Like, bring something new.
Right.
Bring
something to the table.
Yeah, bring something to the table because, we may have a way of dealing with it or a view, but I love to hear other people's view. And, I don't know. It's fun right now. And it's great to see people that in your company that are invested as we are, because that's the type of employee you want.
Well, I think that's fantastic. I really have enjoyed seeing the dynamic between you two, and I can really get the vibe about how well you two really do work together. I think it's awesome. I mean, I wish both of you incredible success. You're both super young. Look, I'm 62. I'm an old timer now, man. But I want to wish you both the greatest success in the future, in the time.
Attention, exhibitors and attendees. The hall is now officially closed. Please make your way to the exit.
So I guess that's a good way to end Pile of Scrap on this episode. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And that's it, because we're getting kicked out of this booth here on Tuesday of ISRI 2024 National Convention. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
This has been a Sierra International Machinery original audio series. Thanks for listening. Please share this podcast and make sure to subscribe.